Good afternoon and welcome to the news update on Business Edge and Good Afternoon Ghana with me, Dominic Nana Kwame Nantapra. Headlines is up next. And now we take the headlines. The overlord of the Mamprugu traditional area addresses protracted disturbances in Bawku, which have led to the loss of lives and destructions of property since 2021. And now over 3,000 residents in Adan East municipality of the Greater Accra region now have access to electricity following the commissioning of 3 SECO-funded mini-grid electrification projects. And now on Good Afternoon Ghana Business today, we will be assessing the impact of recent utility tariff hike on businesses. This and many other more coming your way in 30 minutes. Do stay. We'll be right back with more. And I will settle for the news in details. We're live on Metro TV we are live on Good Afternoon Ghana on Metro TV. Now the overlord of the Mamprugu traditional area, now Bohagu Mahimi Abdullahi Sherigan II, has addressed the protracted disturbances in Bawku, which have led to the loss of lives and destructions of property since 2021. The press briefing under the theme Acts of Lawlessness, Banditry and Terrorism unacceptable in my beloved Bawku called for calm and stability in the area. The Nairi is also expected to engage with paramount chiefs, youth groups and traditional leaders across the Mamprugu Kingdom. Well, we apologize for the technical hitches. Now, our correspondent from the Northern Region, Al-Hassan Dibaba, is on the phone to tell us more about this. Dibaba, you're live. Dibaba, can you hear me? Now, we're trying to get Dibaba to give us more in depth about the press briefing that went on regarding the Bawku saga. I'm being told Dibaba has joined us. Dibaba, can you unmute yourself? Can you hear us? Dibaba, unmute your tab. Can you unmute it, please? Well, we apologize for the technical hitches. You're trying to get our Northern Regional correspondent. We are told that, okay, he joins us live on phone. Dibaba, can you hear me now?
I can hear you clearly.
Right, so give us the in-depth briefing regarding what went on today.
Well, thank you so much. Like I mentioned earlier, we are currently at the Nairi Palace at Naleru in the Northeast region, where the king of the Mamprugu traditional area has addressed the good people of the area, including the youth. According to the Nairi, it is important and very good that the President of the Republic of Ghana has referred the issue of Bawku to the Ashanti Hinidi Otunfo to the second. Because according to the Nairi, issues of chieftaincy should always be referred to chiefs for resolution. And according to him, he is very happy that the President is taking every step to ensure that the issues are resolved. But he said he is not very happy for the way things are happening in Bawku. According to him, many people are allowed to misbehave in the area, and he is seeing this to be lack of adequate security personnel on the ground. According to him, if the security personnel were enough at the ground, those perpetrators wouldn't be able to commit their acts because they will be afraid if the security are everywhere. According to him again, people should be allowed to go to every market they want within the Bawku area because the markets are public properties and everybody should be allowed to go into every market they want to do business. And according to Nanaire again, he is not going to sit aloof and allow people to threaten the authority of the Mamprugu kingdom. And for that matter, if things are not changing, they are going to resist any attempt to oppress or to undermine the authority of the Nairi. He said he is also happy that the IGP has visited the place to ensure that they have first-hand information as to what is happening on the ground. But he said they are not really happy because people who should have been protecting lives and property in the Bawku area are now being targeted, and the perpetrators are always allowed to have their day, because according to him, if people were paying for their acts, what is happening within Bawku wouldn't be happening. He also mentioned that the Bawku Naba, who he installed some time back, has given him information that many things are not going on right in the Bawku traditional area, and he is calling on the government to ensure that the right things are done in the Bawku area. He is also telling everybody that he is the authority within the Mamprugu land, which includes Upper East, Upper West, and many other areas. And for that matter, he is ready to be with anybody, but people who are not ready to be civil, he is not going to take things lightly with them. But he's also calling on everybody, the youth of the Kusasi land, the youth of Mamprugu, and any other group of people within his jurisdiction to respect his authority and to respect the rights of everybody within that area. And for that matter, he is calling on everybody to cooperate with the Ashanti Hini to ensure a best and fast resolution of the Bawku chieftaincy issues.
Ibaba, what has been the feedback from the residents so far?
Well, people around the area are very happy that the Nairi, the Ashanti Hini, and other kings are taking these steps to ensure that the resolution is done. But they are also saying, the youth around the area are also saying that their people are being molested in Bawku and other areas, and they cannot be happy for that. And for that matter, they are calling on the security services to always be fair to everybody, to always do justice to every individual within that jurisdiction. Because according to them, it's like people or some people are allowed to misbehave in the area, and it is not bringing good results to him. And for that matter, the youth of the area are not also happy for what is happening in Bawku, but they are happy specifically for the fact that the issue has been referred to the Ashanti Hini's palace and other kings within Ghana to ensure a fast and best resolution for the people of the area. But many of the youth around the area actually are not happy, and they are not happy because according to them, what the security personnel and other people within the Bawku area are going through is not the best, and the people wouldn't be able to do that if the writing or if the security on the ground were enough and they were ready to take action against any individual who will misbehave in the area. So actually, the people or the youth of the area are not happy for what is happening in Bawku, but they are happy that the Nairi and other kings are putting their heads together to ensure that the issue in Bawku are resolved. Like
you cited earlier on, you said that the Nairi has called on the Mamprusi youth and also called on the corporates, and also the police or the security agencies that are supposed to, protect us are being targeted. When you say he called on the youth of the Mamprusi, did he summon them to have a dialogue with them and discuss matters with them?
Well, that was not being told us, but he made mention in his press conference. He made mention in his press conference that he is calling on the youth of Mamprugu land, every youth within the Mamprugu traditional area, because according to him, all the people within Bawku and beyond are under his control. So he is calling on every youth within the Mamprugu traditional area to become and not to escalate issues. And if he is saying all youth within his jurisdictional area, he is referring to youth within Bawku, including the Kusasi youth and the Mamprugu youth.
Dibaba, in brief, okay, let us understand this regarding the press briefing that went on. Is Bawku going to get better?
Well, I cannot say that for now because there are so many, or there are entrenched positions. People are taking positions that are not helpful to the situation. In fact, the Mamprugut youth are taking entrenched positions. The Kusasi youth are taking entrenched positions. Right. And for that matter, we cannot stand here and say whether the resolution will be fast or the best way to go. But we are all waiting to see what will happen in the Ashanti Palace. And many people are liking this issue to the Dagbon issue. But other experts are telling us that it is quite different because this was about one tribe and almost one family. But what we are talking, or what we are seeing in Bawku, is different because we are talking of different tribes with different grievances in the Bawku area. So we cannot say whether the resolution is going to come now or not. We are all waiting to see. But as a matter of fact, I can confidently report that there are so many interim positions by all the groups, or within interim positions between the Mamprisi youth and the Kusasi youth in the area.
Ibawa, thank you very much for this update. We will surely come to you for more and regarding the Bawku issue. Now, minority has also spoken. The leader has called on the government to take urgent steps to restore peace in Bawku, citing rising insecurity that has even left security personnel feeling unsafe. At a press conference, minority leader Alexander Fenyo-Markin also criticized the alleged persecution of political opponents and urged the government to uphold tolerance and rule of law. He also warned against any attempts to politicize the judiciary, accusing the NDC government of trying to infiltrate the judicial system for partisan gain.
We are also urging upon government to do all it can to ensure the peace in Bawku. The situation is getting out of hand, and they inherited a peaceful country. They must keep it peaceful. What is happening in Bawku, where security personnel don't feel safe, is not the best for our country. Second, we are also concerned about the persecution and the harassment of political opponents, particularly our party members and former appointees. MPs are now being harassed by expressing their views on governance issues. We urge government to demonstrate tolerance. After all, when they were in opposition, they were at liberty to raise a number of issues. The recent event at the residence of Reverend Ntim Fojo leaves so much to be desired. Very unfortunate. In any event, they could have used due process of law to, invite him. And then the final point, government must focus on issues of governance, creating jobs, and helping better the lives of the people. We are still aware that a lot more are being dismissed from various state institutions that are even very independent and are limited liability companies, and whose budget do not rely on government budgets. They are very independent, who have recruited people for 18 months, 12 months, and they are just being sacked here and there. Government must take note of it. We are also concerned about an attempt by certain individuals in government to push for the removal of the Chief Justice. The judiciary should not be seen as part of the partisan political system in our country. All we need is to have an impartial judiciary to dispense justice. What is happening is unacceptable, and it's clear that the NDC government wants to infiltrate the judiciary and make it partisan. But my advice to all judges in the country: stand together. Let not somebody create an impression of one of you and think that by dislodging one of you, you will be the next. The next day, you would also be the next.
And now the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has emphasized the importance of people-centric regional integration. The minister stressed that the success of ECOWAS hinges not only on policies, but on the collective aspirations of West Africans, including entrepreneurs, students, journalists, peacekeepers, farmers, traders, artists, and innovators. He made the call during the launch of the 50th anniversary celebration of the Economic Community of West African States in Accra.
On this occasion, let us remember that regional integration is not just about policies, it is about people. It is about the entrepreneur in Accra and Abidjan, the student in Lagos and Dakar, the journalist in Lome and Freetown, and the peacekeeper in Banjul and Bissau. It is about the farmers, traders, artists, and innovators who believe in a future where West Africa stands united in strength, stability, and shared prosperity. This Golden Jubilee is more than a commemoration of time. It is a testament to the resilience, cooperation, and shared aspirations of West African nations in their pursuit of deeper cooperation in the areas of trade and investment, human capital development, agriculture, health, good governance, infrastructure development, peace, and security. As we mark 50 years of ECOWAS, it is imperative that we seize this moment to chart a bold and ambitious course for the next 50 years. The ECOWAS at 50th anniversary is not merely a ceremonial event. It is a strategic opportunity to celebrate our achievements in fostering regional stability, economic growth, and cultural exchange, strengthen solidarity among member states amidst evolving geopolitical dynamics, enhance public awareness of ECOWAS's role in peacekeeping, trade, and development, advance inclusive dialogue on the future of regional integration, rekindle hope and belief in the ECOWAS vision, particularly amongst the youth of our sub-region, and showcase Ghana's leadership in driving the ECOWAS agenda forward.
That with the formation of the alliance of the Sahelian state by 3 countries that broke away from ECOWAS, it is imperative to reinforce diplomacy, enhance security, and remain resolute for the united and prosperous West Africa.
In the area of peace and security, ECOWAS has been a pillar, intervening in crisis and upholding democratic principles through peacekeeping missions and diplomatic efforts. Yet recently, the impact of ECOWAS in forging together an integrated regional economic bloc of 50 member states has been somewhat diminished in the face of political and security challenges, which have led to the withdrawal of 3 member states, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. The 3 member states, as we all know, have since formed the AES, which is the Alliance of Sahelian States. While this is a challenge for regional cohesion, ECOWAS, in response, must reinforce diplomacy, enhance security, and remain resolute in its vision of a united and prosperous West Africa. It is fair to say that this has been the philosophy underpinning President Mohammed's recent shuttle diplomacy and pragmatic approach in addressing the AES challenge, which, as you all know, has been hailed by his peers and many other observers.
And now over 3,000 residents of Azasikbe, Alokem, and Aflive in the Adan East municipality of the Greater Accra region now have access to electricity following the commissioning of 3 SECO-funded mini-grid electrification projects. The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapor, who commissioned the projects together with a Swiss ambassador to Ghana, said government is committed to ensuring equitable power supply to all Ghanaians and promoting inclusive development.
Residents of Azizakpe, Alokem and Aflive in the Adan East municipality of the Greater Accra region for many years have had no access to electricity. Evans Amezo, a resident who grew up in Aflive, narrated his ordeal with his studies during his basic education.
I grew up in this community, and growing up you find it difficult to learn because you don't have light to learn.
The projects, funded by the Swiss Secretariat for Economic Affairs, will provide over 200 kilowatts of solar power for the 3 communities. Other residents, including a Class 4 pupil, shared with us how beneficial the project will be to them.
We are happy to see light today. The last time we did not get light, but today we are get light to do our homeworks. We are very, very great happy to see light again.
We have really longed for a project like this. Our students, mostly when we give them homeworks, they come with a complaint that they are not having light to do it. But with this commissioning, we are believing that every time we give them homework, they'll go to the house and then do it.
First, when we don't have light, we can't study. Our education, when we do exam, we fail. In our house too, we don't have much touch. As our mother is working with the touch, they don't allow us to work or study with the touch. So as the lights come now, it will help us in many ways.
The Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapo, in his address said the project formed part of government's commitment to addressing the energy access gap in the country.
This was to help bridge the gap and ensure that we promote inclusive economic growth, unlock new social and economic opportunities for the underserved, and ensure that we achieve overall national economic development. With the lights now turned on in these three communities, over 3,700 residents will, for the first time, have access to clean, reliable, and uninterruptible, but more importantly, sustainable electricity for economic development.
The Swiss ambassador to Ghana, Simone Giga, said the project will not only promote development in the area, but ensure Ghana's effort to transition to green energy is realized. She urged apt maintenance of the facilities.
This means that children can study after dark, health centers can store vaccines and operate essential equipment, small businesses can hopefully flourish, and tourism will certainly be boosted. But beyond development, this project also speaks to climate action. By harnessing renewable energy, we are not just lighting homes, we are protecting the planet. It would be unfortunate if they are not properly maintained and operated.
Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Volta River Authority, Edward Obenkenzo, said the mini solar power grid will positively impact Ghana's power generation capacity, assuring they will be properly maintained.
As the operating entity, the Volta River Authority remains committed to the long-term sustainability and efficient management of these assets.
So the project, which is expected to benefit over 3,000 residents, is just the start, according to the Minister for Energy and Green Transition. He has revealed plans that measures are in place to ensure that such projects are carried out in over 100 more islands, seeing to it that the vision of the government to ensure access to electricity comes to fruition. For Metro News, I'm Derek Adote, Accra.
And now Ghana's Energy Commission has stated its readiness to collaborate with stakeholders in the energy sector to improve efficiency. Speaking at the official inauguration of the Ghana chapter of the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating and Air Conditioning Engineers, the acting executive secretary of the commission agreed with the mandate of the society to work with standards and improve the professionalism of engineers and skilled workers within Ghana's built industry. There is more in this report.
ASHRAE, acronym for the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating and Air Conditioning Engineers, is a global professional organization focused on advancing the arts and sciences of heating, ventilation, air conditioning, refrigeration and their allied fields. The formation of the ASHRAE Ghana chapter in 2023, after detachment from the Nigerian chapter, aimed to bring together professionals, businesses and policymakers to help realize the vision by fostering innovation, knowledge sharing, and improved standards in Ghana's built environment. ASHRAE Society President Dennis Knight stressed on the need to create a grassroots campaign to stimulate interest as technology advances in the art.
We need to demonstrate to the world what we do and the impact our industry is making today and is capable of producing in the future. to address indoor environmental quality, sustainable development, and climate change. We need to highlight our industry in a way that celebrates the ideas and innovations that emerge when we embrace and encourage greater diversity, equity, and inclusion.
With this, members of the Ghana chapter came up with the apprenticeship scheme to support persons interested in career opportunities in the sector.
There are many people without jobs. There are many people who don't manage to continue into tertiary education. And the biggest thing we can all do is give someone an opportunity to have a job, to earn a living.
Acting Executive Secretary of the Energy Commission, Eunice Brichum, lauded ASHRI for the feat of successfully launching Ghana's own chapter and looked forward to collaborate to ensure energy efficiency.
ASHRI is an organization, is an association of heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigerating engineers. And so we set the regulations and we enforce them. And so we would hope that as engineers, when they're designing their systems, when they're helping people to, build their commercial spaces, residential spaces, that they would adhere to the regulations that we've set, and then also make sure that they are building, the most energy efficient equipment for buildings and spaces. So we work closely with them. We look at collaborating on how we can improve upon energy efficiency practices in the country.
A certificate of charter was awarded to the Ghana chapter during the official launch, as well as awards presented to outstanding ASHRI members. With the ever-increasing climate change, stakeholders from across the world made presentations on how their countries have used the sciences of heating and air conditioning to make a positive impact in the build.
Do stay. We'll be right back after this break.
Fire pomudi ni agobi Ghana funi aje efise ya your local spices na ya frafra dia ya sankofa natural spice
me de gumi jollof mu ni mi sti wa hodoma emanate dance
Stanley the barbecue the go on
sankofa natural spices and one you use 100% natural said the happen
adofo mamu huge mistake sankofa natural spices di
ediaji ejodi nkratu yatu.
Connected to DSTV this April and May and get all the football finals you want.
At the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, our mission is to promote good driving standards on our roads and other public places. We can only achieve this by ensuring that every driver and vehicle owner has access to quality services and the right information to stay compliant with road safety regulations. This is why we are excited to introduce the 2025 National Community Outreach Program, an initiative designed to bring our services and education closer to the public. This initiative is to actively engage transport unions, corporate entities, and communities. We invite you to stay connected as we bring DVLA services right to your doorstep. At DVLA, your safety will continue to be our concern.
Whether you're a wholesaler, retailer, or consumer, MNC Logistics and Trading is your trusted partner in minerals and food commodities trading. Experience the difference with MNC Logistics and Trading for your commodities trading. We operate a well-equipped laboratory that smelts and assays gold to ensure transparent, credible, and reliable minerals transactions. Our general food commodity market deals with imports and exports of food products such as rice, sugar, and grains. We pride ourselves on delivering products that meet the highest standards of quality and taste. With our expertise in international trading and logistics, we bridge customers far and wide. Locate us at number 4 Neosai Interfo Avenue, East Legon, Accra. Call us on 030-299-8246 or visit our website www.mnclogisticsandtrading.com. MNC Logistics and Trading, hub of confidence.
Back in the day, your Metro TV, live on television. And live on television, this is on Metro TV.
People pick the records, and you see every time we wipe the record, there's a reason why we wipe the record, because the records, they gather dust.
These days, people want to be on radio because they think it gets you popular. I mean, back in the day, we could sit there was a place at Choice FM called the Pentagon, and we could have a discussion about songs, and you think it was a political debate. I remember those days at the Ghana Film Theatre, films were released almost every week. New films, and we saw long queues of people trooping to go to watch films, and then we also had video centers. But then I think the plus we had was the fact that there were people we looked up to, and we didn't just look up to them, we served them, and they actually taught us.
Yeah.
Kofi Dixon and that team, they started playing Hip Life. When they started playing Hip Life wasn't called Hip Life, it didn't have a name.
You are watching Back in the Days with Sammy B on Metro TV.
Back in the Day on Metro TV is live.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Please, next time, can you put in a dustbin?
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. I'll not do that again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Girl, how are you? I've really missed you.
I've missed you too. So
I know, right?
Thank you. Auntie Naya.
Yes, dear.
Uncle Kofi. Yes, dear. All you've been teaching me about sanitation, I've been teaching my friends at school, and it has been absolutely great.
Really?
Wow.
That's a great impact you're making now.
Sure. Keep it up, girl. Okay. Sure. Auntie Naya.
Yes, dear.
I need to tell you something.
Go ahead.
If we want to be successful as a people, we need to be aware of the importance of sanitation.
That's true.
That's true.
You're right, Amma. You're right. That's true. Naya, do you know sanitation is so important and crucial in our society?
Yes, Kofi, and I thank God for K Sanitation IQ, which you can also just say KSIQ. It is an important show that you don't need to miss it.
Kids Sanitation IQ. That's a great show. I understand the show has been designed for the kids to educate the public on some special sanitation categories.
I know, right? And I learned they will also educate the public on sanitation for environmental and community development.
I also understand they would educate the public on sanitation for educational development.
Wow.
Yeah.
Education, you say?
Oh, God.
Wow.
Right.
It is amazing. They also have sanitation for health development.
Oh, health
and
development.
Sanitation for corporate.
Corporate and health, Nana?
Don't play.
This one will intrigue you. I understand this kit will educate the public on sanitation that benefits the needy.
The needy, you say?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Oh, God.
Don't miss this
You
show.
don't have to miss the Kids Sanitation IQ show.
To participate in this contest, please call 0209 300 300 0209 300 300 for an audition. Don't miss the KSIQ show. Be there.
Right, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. It's a beautiful Thursday, and I'm sure that by this time you are either in the mood already or you are preparing to be in the mood for the Easter celebrations. And so tomorrow is Good Friday, Sunday will be Resurrection Sunday, and of course Monday will be, of course, we're waiting for the Minister for the Interior to put out a notice, but it is expected generally that it will be a holiday. So for those of you who are planning your weekend and planning how your expenditure will be, of course, because we are business here, we're interested in what you will do with your money and how your expenses are going to go. If you have to go to the bank, please do go today, because you would have the whole of tomorrow up until Monday that you will not be able to visit the bank. Well, let me welcome you to Business Edge here on Good Afternoon Ghana, and when you see me here, it's all about business. We are coming your way live from our studios here at Rage in Accra. Today, we have very interesting discussions for you. We are going to be looking at the electricity tariffs, the water tariffs, generally the utility tariffs, and we are asking a very special question. You can walk or go onto our Facebook page, Twitter page, or X page, Instagram page, or any other page. Look for me, Chairman Kwesi Free, or go to Metro TV news page and put up your comment or your concern. How much of electricity are you paying? And then if the increment of 14 point something and over is added to it, how much are you expected to pay? In the current power outages, are you with the PURC for the increment, or you are against that increment? That's a big question we are putting out. The Association of Ghana Industries and some other entities have voiced out against it. The Kofi Kapito's institution have also voiced out against it. So this is a big question for us. We are quickly going to run through on the screen what the justification of the PURC is, and then the markups that they are adding. And then when we finish, maybe we'll have some other discussions for the show this afternoon. So stay with us. Of course, my name is Kwesi Efri, and I am your host for the afternoon, and when it is Business Edge, you will see me here. The question again, and the number will be on the screen pretty shortly, so you can send in your messages. How much are you paying? Are you with the PURC or you are against? How is the power situation in your area? When was the last time you experienced a doomsday or a power outage? And are you for the increment or against the increment? Note that our concern or discussion is not only power, but there is water as well. So we are discussing the entirety of utilities. So this is the statement from the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. And remember that the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, as their name goes, is the institution that gathers together the Electricity Company of Ghana, NEDCO, Ghana Water Company Limited, VRA, and all the utility producers, and determine what price they can charge you, the consumer, me, the consumer, from our houses, from our companies where we work, from our businesses, and so on and so forth. So that's their mandate. That's the core mandate of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. And I'm taking my time to mention the name so that you can appreciate what exactly they stand for. So they have concluded a meeting, and they said that out of the requests, and this is the tradition, the Electricity Company of Ghana, NEDCO, Ghana Water Company, and so on and so forth, will make a proposal. When they make the proposal for an increment in their tariffs, they will send it to the PURC. PURC would sit down with them, vet the proposal, have discussions, have them justify why they need those increments. And usually, those of us who have followed the news all the time, usually we would hear lots about maintenance, infrastructure, inflation, and so on and so forth. So the PURC put out a statement on their justification, or on the meeting that they had, and they put the heading as 2022-2025. So they are telling us between 2022 to 2025, there has not been any major review, multi-year major tariff review for natural gas, electricity, and water services. So I'm going to go through it. It says the Public Utility Regulatory Commission, PURC, has concluded its regulatory process for the examination and approval of the utility tariffs covering the period 2022 to 2025. I'll give you a bit of a background as well whilst we go on. Remember that there was an issue of COVID, there was an issue of free water, there was an issue of reduction in prices for lots of the utilities. We came back to it, and then when the increments started coming out, people agitated. We'll come to the details of all of that. Now, as has been the practice, the PURC undertook extensive stakeholder consultations, which afforded the utility service providers the opportunity to explain their proposals to the general public and key interest groups such as the Association of Ghana Industries. And take note, the Association of Ghana Industries really matter, really matter in this space, because they are the major, maybe we need to do a research about that, but they are the major users of power in the country. All the factories, the manufacturing factories, the production factories, even the service industry. So every company that falls under the Association of Ghana Industries, it is not necessarily only about agric mechanization factories, or from manufacturing to everything, service. The MTNs, the Vodafones, or the Telecells, the Metro TVs, everybody that is in the industry space of the Ghana economic ecosystem uses power. So they need to be engaged, and you need to take note that they are charged commercial rates. Their rate is different from how much you are charged, or the percentage charges are different from how much you are charged when you are in your house. So, as has been the practice, the PRC undertook, well, they have engaged the stakeholders and the consultations which afforded the utility service providers the opportunity to explain their proposals to the general public. We are the general public. They have put out a statement. We don't know whether they are referring to the very core stakeholders as the general public, but I mean, it's still well important. And key interest groups such as the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, and the Trades Union Congress, TUC. The tariff decisions for the period 2022 to 2025 have been informed by one disclaim. So the increment, or let me call it the adjustment for now. So remember that there are times prices can go down or it can actually go up. So the right term to refer it to is the adjustment. So the adjustment or the review for this period have been occasioned by 1, rigorous analysis, 2, intense debates. They are telling us that they have had debates with the proposer or the people proposing the increments. So ECG is part, Ghana Water Company is part, VRA is part, and so on and so forth. Have been informed, well, we've done that before already, the rigorous analysis, the intense debates, and extensive consultations. So let's move to the next one. We'll come back to those 3 words. Rigorous analysis, intense debate, extensive consultations. Now, the last major review of tariffs, this is according to the PURC, was done in 2018. We'll come to why they say 2018, but from 2022 they did, which resulted in a 17.5% reduction, and that's why I said it is important to refer to it as adjustments and not necessarily increment in tariffs all the time. For residential and 30% for non-residential in electricity tariff. Since then, the macroeconomic variables have deteriorated, particularly since 2020. And we know why it deteriorated. The managers of the economy at the time, precisely the MPP government, the Minister of Finance at the time, had told us, and the report from Ghana Statistical Service and the Ministry of Finance had told us that the macroeconomic indicators were performing very well and the economy was being restored, and so everything was going well. If you remember 2017, what they cut as nuisance taxes, about 17 of them, they said they had investments, lots of investments coming into the country, and so on and so forth. So 2018 was deemed as a good economic year. Now, it resulted in this 17.5% reduction for the residential and 30% for non-residential. That's the commercial bit. Now, since then, the macroeconomic variables have deteriorated, and that's where the COVID comes in. COVID set in late December, last part of 2019, and then the 2020, we had to go on lockdown and so on and so forth, particularly since 2020. So you can make the connection and the inference from the dates they are given. And we can now assess whether they are on their own, reduced, or the factors that they are going to claim now were not relevant by then. Now, these have adverse implications on the ability of utilities to keep the lights on and water flowing. Please, let's go ahead. And water flowing. The companies requested for very astronomical increases, with Ghana Water Company Limited demanding over 300%. So if you're paying 100 cedis per a month, or for the period for which your bill will come back, the 100 cedis, according to the Ghana Water Company Limited, for all the money they need, has to be increased by 300%. So it is not going to go to 200 cedis, which will be 100%, or 300 cedis, which will be 200%, but it will be jumping over 300 Ghana cedis to 400 from the 100 cedis. So increase in end user tariffs. ECG and NETCO, they provide us with electricity, and remember that there are some intermittent power outages still in the system. And that's why we are putting the number there and asking you, how much do you want to pay? Are you experiencing the power outages? Are you with PURC, or you think that we should not increase tariffs? So ECG and NEDCO proposed, so for ECG, 148%. For NEDCO is up there, 113% increases respectively. So VRA and GRIDCO proposed, so VRA 37%, GRIDCO 48% increment respectively. Now, after receiving these proposals, the Commission carried out rigorous, as they stated, and that's why I told you we'd come back to it. Number one, the rigorous analysis. So rigorous regulatory audit of processes and assets of utility service provided. So they are telling us that they have gone to ECG, they have assessed the entire assets, maybe from the human capital, from the production units, from the distribution points, from all the things they use, the infrastructure they use to supply us electricity in our homes. They have assessed it. If you go to the Ghana Water Company Limited, they have gone through to see their pipes, the deteriorated pipes, their offices, where the water is coming from, and so on and so forth. So PURC is telling us that they have done the regulatory audits of the processes and assets of utility service providers, enabling it to adjust the weighted average cost of gas, WACOG, for power generation and end user tariffs for electricity and water. So this is the justification for whether they want to now increase it or not. And this is where you have all the figures. Ghana Water is requesting for 300% increment. ECG is requesting for 148% increment. NEDCO is requesting for 113% increment. VRA is requesting for 37% increment. GRIDCO is requesting for 48% increment. They have all come around the table. They have come to sit with the PURC, the regulator, and have made this proposal. Now, PURC has to either approve or disapprove it. PURC now says they have engaged them, they have done an audit of their assets, they have debated them, and also spoken to other stakeholders. And this is where we are coming to. So from the 1st of September 2022, increment of water was, yes, that's why I told you, the major review they said, which went downwards, was the 2018 one. Now this is upwards, 21.55%. But there is a cumulative analysis there. You can do a cumulative analysis, how much they went down 2018 and how much they have come up. Maybe you may want to do that subtraction. Electricity now goes up to 27.15. Now, 1st February 2023, 8.3% for water, 29.96% for electricity. 1st June 2023, 0 for water, 18.36% for electricity. 22nd August 2023, 0%. Lifeline consumers. I'm tempted to explain this, but we are going to speak to the Director of Research and Corporate Affairs of the PURC. We'll ask him what that means. 1.18 and other categories of water consumers. 4.22 non-lifeline residential consumers. So this is what happened 1st quarter 2022 through. And then we came to 2024. 1st April 2024, no increment. That's just last year. For water, no increment for water. For electricity, it went down. 6.56 reduction for residential. So for whom people, the electricity you pay in your house went down. 4.98% reduction for non-residential, and then 4.88% reduction for SLT LV customers. 1st July 2024. So this is 1st of April in the 1st quarter or the 1st window. 2nd window, 1st July 2024. Water had to now go up 5.16%. And that's why I asked that you can be able to do, or you should be doing, the cumulative analysis in your house if you're watching us now. For electricity, 3.45%. For lifeline consumers, 5.84% for other residential, non-residential consumers, and then 4.92% for industrial consumers. So if you are not in any of the industrial parks or industrial enclaves, but you have industrial consumption. That's how much you're going to pay. 1st October 2024, now we have come to another quarter. 1.86% and 3.02%. And then currently, this is where we are at currently. From the 300 requests that they had come by up until now, the 148 that the ECG had also come by, what the PURC is approving currently for them is 4.02% for Ghana Water Company Limited. If you look at the proposal and the request, it is woefully inadequate. What should the Ghana Water Company be doing? We will be asking that question. 14.75%. And it comes back to how much you're paying. How are we able to get everybody else in the system? The leakages, those who are not paying, the very few people, and it's like the taxes. A very small number of people paying direct taxes in the system. So it's always problematic. Let me go onto the line now. And for all that we have said here, we have the experts and we have the Director of Research and Corporate Affairs for the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, Dr. Kofi Obute, for the PURC on the line. Doc, good afternoon and thank you very much for joining me. Now, if you can hear me, AGI and some other institutions are not happy with you for the increment that you want to impose on customers.
Hello?
Doc, can you hear me?
Yes,
Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, okay, can you repeat your question, please? Because I didn't quite hear you.
I'm saying that you want to increase utility tariffs. AGI, lots of stakeholders are not happy with you, but you say you have engaged them.
Yes, we do have reps of the associations on our board. We do have a rep from the AGI on our board and a rep from the organized labor on our board. So the decisions were taken by the board, and it is assumed from my end that they made contributions from the associations before decisions were taken.
But Doc, why the percentages for water 4.3, for electricity 14.75? Why?
Well, because we said in the statement that electricity, we do have a debt outstanding of 976 million cedis, of which we took half of. And in the case of water, the main component over there, when we are doing the operational or the minor tariffs, has to do with electricity component in the cost of production. Electricity in the cost of production for water is in the region of 35%. So anything that happens in the case of electricity equally affects the production of water.
But all of these things that you have talked about, yes, are supposed to be financed and so on and so forth. But the companies are supposed to be able to finance themselves. Should you always increase tariffs to fund these things that you are talking about? Is the increment the only way to go?
No, we do not always increase tariffs. At a point in time, we also reduced tariffs. And as I said, these are based on some of the parameters which are beyond the control of both the utility service provider and the PURC. PURC does not control the exchange rate. PURC does not control the inflation rate. The thermal generation from thermal to hydro, PURC does not control. We get those data from the Electricity Market Oversight Panel. Bank of Ghana is where we get the exchange rate from, and we get the inflation rates from the Ghana Statistical Service. So we do not have control over those factors. As long as those factors improve, it will impact positively on the tariff as well.
Yes, Doc, I agree with you. I agree with you on all of those points. But the end result or the end of the matter is that these companies need money to be able to run. And there are lots of leakages. So all of these that you have stated, very legitimate, right enough, but they are not the only issues that the companies have to deal with. You can do all the funding, or you can do all that you need to do. For example, inflation can come down. For example, all the things that the Bank of Ghana has to do will be done, Ministry of Finance and so on and so forth. If people are not paying, if there are leakages, if the revenue collection itself is not going according to plan, or not everybody is paying, we'll still come back to the table talking about this and asking for a review upwards.
That is very true, because but if you look at what the factors are now, you realize that collection rate has actually shot up. We used to have collection in the region of about 800 million. Okay, but right now collection per month is in the region of about 1.4, 1.5 billion. So it tells you that collection, whilst the PRC is doing its part, we also make sure that service provider also improves on its part. In the case of losses, most of the losses are commercial losses, and the commercial losses are in the form of theft. I mean, outright stealing. So technical losses are just under 10%. Technical losses are in the region of 9.8%. But most of it is commercial losses. The Commission is pushing the utility service providers to make sure that they improve upon the commercial losses by going after people who do illegal connections, people who steal power without paying for it, people who steal water without paying for it, and make sure that they even charge them interest upon rates that were owed to the utility service provider. So the Commission is doing all of that and has set targets for the service providers. For instance, if it gets to collection, the Commission has set a 98% collection ratio for the service providers. So we monitor all those ratios. And mind you, we do not push through any inefficiencies at all that occur on the side of the service provider.
Yes, I agree with you on that. But how are you doing that? I mean, we've discussed that time and again. This is not the first time we are talking about enforcing or forcing your stakeholders, primarily ECG, Ghana Water, at least those who deal directly with consumers, and forcing them to make sure that the theft is reduced, that commercial losses, even technical losses, are reduced.
Yes. Of course, we have been pushing them to do that. And I'm saying that we use the benchmarks that we set for them. That's the only way we use to make sure that they comply. Because if you do anything below the 98% collection ratio, we have a loss figure that we're giving to them. If you do anything less than the loss figure, it inures to the benefit of the service provider. Anything beyond the loss figure that the Commission has given to you goes against the service provider. In the case of collection, if you do more than 98% collection, it's in favor of the service provider. If you do less than 98% collection, it's against the service provider. So we make sure that all these things are taken on board before we come out with a tariff. We do not, on any occasion, pass through any of these inefficiencies to the consumer. In the minor tariff, as I said earlier on, we consider basically 4 parameters, which I spoke about earlier on. It is in the major tariff that we consider both capital expenses as well as operational expenses. But if it comes to the minor tariff, which is a quarterly review of the tariffs, we do not consider the capital expenses.
Okay, so let me ask you this. This is not, as you say, the first time you are telling them this, or they are supposed to comply. Will you go ahead to say that they are not being effective? Ghana Water Company Limited, Electricity Company of Ghana, will you say they are not being effective?
Sorry, I didn't quite get that part very well. Can you go over that statement? I'm sorry.
I'm saying that apart from all the factors which affect a review in the tariff, the inflation, the infrastructural deficit, and so on and so forth, I think, and you have agreed, that one of the major issues to deal with is the revenue mobilization, which, even though you say it has shot up, it is still quite not impressive. Would you say that these institutions are, for want of a better word, ineffective in the kind of work they are doing, especially in the area of revenue mobilization?
I cannot say that they are being ineffective. I cannot categorically state that they are being ineffective. Because of maybe what we realize is that they are actually pushing up the game. So if you are collecting, let's say, 800 million, and all of a sudden you are taking 1.4 billion, the target is about 2 billion. At least it's an improvement over the 800 million, and we are pushing them to get to the target of 2 billion. So I think they are improving day in, day out. They are improving on their collections.
Can there not be a system? For example, we are in the era of digitalization, and ECG, for example, I can stay here and pay my light bill or buy power on my phone, get it installed on my meter in the house so that people in the house can have power. Can we not have a system where electronically, digitally, we can trace the losses so that we don't have the problem of losses again? I'm not sure that when, and all of you travel outside the country to where we call the developed world, so I'm not sure you get into the problems that we face here in Africa or in Ghana.
Well, the idea is, I think you can see that ECG does have an app through which it encourages people to pay. ECG sometime last year even said to the whole nation that it was going cashless. So yes, electronically they are doing that. Ghana Water Company also has apps and they collect money electronically. It's not always a case that people have to go to the offices before they can make payments. So yes, electronically, the service providers are undertaking that particular initiative.
But my very last question to you, do you agree? I mean, there's been discussions about privatizing ECG, or maybe not necessarily privatizing, but finding a private partner, finding a partner to ensure that revenue mobilization, to ensure that operationalization and everything is intact and we don't lose power. We are able to have consistent power supply. Currently, there are still intermittent power outages in the system. Do you agree with that assertion that we should find a partner for example, ECG or Ghana Water?
Well, in that particular case, that particular issue is a policy issue and it's purely above my pay grade. I don't deal with policy issues, so that I cannot speak to that.
You speak for PURC, you are a major stakeholder. Do you agree? Is it the case that PURC is in line with finding a private partner?
That's why I said I cannot speak to that issue. That's a policy issue, and it is beyond me. Maybe my commissioners can answer that, but I cannot speak to that issue.
Well, so Dr. Kofi Obute is the Director of Research and Corporate Affairs, PURC. Doc, thank you very much for letting us have you this afternoon. I'll go straight, I'll continue with the discussion. And Joseph Paddy is our very good friend, Director Industrial Relations, Ghana Union of Traders Association, and we'll have John Awuni also on the line. But I'll ask you straight. Well, let me welcome you first of all. You're welcome. It's been a while. It's been a while we met, but thankfully you are here. But you are not too happy with it.
Very, very much so.
Why so?
Because the dispensation we find ourselves, we've been complaining about cost of doing business. So if you are going to introduce another tariff, which is going to add on to cost of doing business, I think it's a worry. And then what we see the PRC doing with our utility providers is that they are passing on. They said they are passing on production costs, they are passing on production loss and an inefficiency. That is the difficult. The reason they gave for this increase as a result of production loss. Who caused the production loss? These are some of the things to be interrogated. Yes, who caused the production? You know, you walk through town and you see a burst pipe and you complain, and for over months, years, it's still not repaired. And we have all this loss. So who pays? So it's being passed on to the final consumer as a result of that. In recent time, we heard about what happens with ECGs, when they import goods and services to produce. You know, the waste that happens, what happens at the port? How can you import a product and keep it at the port for years, for months? And then if you bought it at the rate of $6, and today dollar is running around $16, $1 to 16 cedis. So you are passing on this cost to the consumer. And that is why we are not too happy with it. Already, we're complaining about cost of doing business, where you are crying that people should go into manufacturing and production because Ghanaians import too much. We can't go into production without light. We can't go into production without water. And these are the factors of production that we need for production. And
because you raise this point, hold on there. Because you raise this point, hold on there. Let me go to John Awuni. John Awuni is chairman for the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana. Let me ask him, we are trying to encourage production of some of these items here in Ghana. We don't need to import biscuits. We don't need to import soft drinks. We need to be able to encourage our farmers do productions or farm on large scale. The sourcing will be done locally, and then you'll get the produce to produce all of the beverages that we need, the Tampico and so on and so forth, for us on the local market. Here we are having an increment in electricity tariffs and all you've been complaining about. And I'm happy Joseph raises the point that we need people to produce here in the country. Cost of production. I mean, how are you taking this entirely?
Thank you very much and good afternoon to your viewers. I would say that essentially the increment in the tariff rate of the electricity and then water is a very lazy way of solving the problem with the power sector. It's a very, very, very lazy way because this it is nothing new. They have been increasing tariff over the past years. Tariff adjustment has always gone on, and yet the problem has never been solved. So if it is the fact that Ghanaians have not been paying enough money for light and water, then for the fact that they have been increasing these tariffs over the past years, then in fact the ECG should have been doing well, and the water company should have been doing well. But that is not the case. So it should be able to, policymakers should be able to sit back and then look at what exactly is the challenge of these two sectors or companies in the country. They are basically monopolies. Nobody competes with ECG with the provision of power to players, to consumers in the country, yet they are unable to make profit. What is the challenge? We have had situations where in the past, from the 2016 to 2024, when the Nanado government handed over, they've increased tariffs almost, I think that more than double of its original figure. In some cases, it was increased 100%, and yet in here we are sitting down talking about tariff adjustments again. So we are not really very pleased with this idea, because the adjustment will never solve the problem in this country until we go back to the table and then check out the basic factors that is making ECC not to operate well, until we go back and find out why are we unable to make profit to a company that should necessarily make profit. If we keep on passing power, this increasing tariffs, then we are killing the birds that lay the golden eggs. The private sector can never do well. Bank of Ghana can never fight inflation. When they themselves, the government is the one increasing tariffs. As they've increased tariffs by 14.75% for ECG and 4-point-something whatever for water, it's going to pass on to the consumer. The prices of goods will go up. So how can they, on one leg, trying to control inflation, on another leg, pushing up inflation? From December to date, the price of cement, the minimum bag of cement was in December was like 75 cedis. Today, it is 100 cedis. The cement bag that was 100 cedis today is 150. A crate of beer in December was 140 cedis. Today it is 210 cedis.
Wow.
A bucket of tomato, small paint bucket, was 70 cedis. Today it is 150 cedis. I can go on and on. A trip of sand in December was 2,700 cedis. Today it is 3,000. Stones was 3,000. Today it is 4,000.
But that's serious. That's serious revelations
in the market.
I'm saying that those are serious revelations, because the time space is too short for us to be having these kind of increases.
Yes. So go out to the market and find out. And we check prices every now and then. A box of wall tiles that is produced just in central region here, locally here, was 105 cities in December. Today it is 140 cities.
Wow.
So a government that wants to fight and bring down prices or necessarily must not think about just adjusting. Go back. You have a lot of meters that are not reading in the system. ECG workers really do not even care. You go and report that a meter is not working and they think that it is your problem, not their problem. Attitude of the workers. How much tariff can this government increase in this country to achieve a real results when the people who are managing it are not ready to work to make things work out? So I am really, we as a sector, we are really very, very against this tariff adjustment because prices will go up, prices will escalate. Go to the Ghanaian market, whether locally produced or imported, the goods prices are changing by the week. Look, the drivers of prices in this country normally has been fuel prices and then exchange rate. For the past months from November, exchange rate has been very stable. Fuel prices are going down.
Yes, for the exchange rates, I agree.
Are the prices
I think the whole of this year.
Why are the prices going up in the market?
Yes. I think the whole of this year, the exchange rate has been very good. It's hovered around. I checked. I think today it's still around 15. The mid rate is still around 15.5. Thereabout.
15.5 maximum 16 cities in the zeros.
Yes. So it means that you shouldn't be increasing your prices the way you are talking about.
Prices should not be going up. Prices should not be going up. Tenants, landlords are increasing prices. Cement people, everything, everybody's increasing every now and then. Completely unbridled price increment in this country. And so governments must begin to know that it is not that consumers are not paying enough. But basically, there is something. If you keep pushing prices up that way, then you will also be driving corruption very, very, very high in the country. There's a complete correlation because if the cost of living is high, then everybody would like to do some way to be able to supplement their legitimate income that they are making. The issue of ECG is not tariff. It's not that tariffs are low. Tariffs are not low. Whether it is industry or household, tariffs are not low, but just that a few people are paying the taxes, and the attitude of the electricity company workers is just nothing to write home about. All of them have formed more or less their own businesses, and they are running.
Okay.
So even themselves go and connect illegal power for consumers, and we all know that. There are parliamentarians that are there consuming power, they don't pay. And we know that.
But John, hold on. I'll come back to you on that. Let me come to Joseph here in the studio. Now you are raising very serious points. I mean, let me move up a bit, just a bit, from the ECG issues. We'll come back to it. That's why we are here today. Yeah. But production prices going up, it's not just about ECG, I'm sure. And I'm sure it's also not just about water, Ghana Water Company, but the entire cost of production. So why are prices going up anyhow, anyway like that? When we have evidence that the dollar is stable currently?
Yeah, price could have gone higher than this.
Why?
Price could have gone higher than this as a result of, because now people are trying to move from just importation, try to do production their own way, in a small way. But the challenge in doing, now look at interest rate. Interest rate, policy rate has gone up to almost about 28 or something.
Yes.
Now interest rate is moving about 34 to 35. So you gain 1 year, and you, for example, recently TVC were asking for wages and salary increment, and they gave them 10%. And we have increased utility to almost 18, water and light to 18. So you've given 10, and you are taking 18. So there's a defect here. So these are some of the, and one of the issue we're talking about is that when these tariffs are increased, do we get service for this? Can I have 24/7 water running in my pipes, my taps?
Can you have consistent power supply throughout the week without
Yes, and I slept without light.
You slept without light yesterday?
There was light throughout the night. You see, so these are the difficulties. So we are it's an inefficiency that we need to fight, not the increase. I always say it. When we even talk to GRE, we tell GRE, it's not about it's the rate at which you bring the taxes.
And the taxes, it's one point we always talk about.
The rate at which you bring the taxes, that is making people not compliant. So it's not about the tax that people don't want to pay. It's not about this utility people don't want to pay. But there's inefficiency that you are passing on to consumers. It's our worrying. The inefficiency. I tell you, like you said, go and look at illegal connections that's going around all the place. We talk about ministries that don't pay, and they pass it on to the consumer, the individuals. Water that is leaking, they pass it on to us. So PURC, when they meet these power producers, and they are the regulators, what do they tell? What are the input? They said they met stakeholders, and they didn't.
In fact, there are 3 points that they put there, and I stress those points. I'm sure if they put the statement there for me, we'll be able. First of all, they said they have done a rigorous analysis of the proposals. Ghana Water Company was requesting for 300 percentage increment.
Yes.
ECG was requesting for 148 percentage increment. And then I think NEDCO was also requesting for a certain amount of increment. But they have done an analysis of this. They have done an audit of their assets and the request also. And based on the analysis and the audits, they have come to the conclusion of what they are doing now.
That is why we also don't agree with it. Based on what are the audit that you did on them, what are the analysis you did on them, that you arrive at this point. But we are also saying, other way around, we are seeing inefficiency somewhere. So if we are able to take care of the inefficiency, if we are able to take care of the wastage, if we are able to take care of the leakages, we'll be able to handle all these issues that we are complaining about. And I made mention earlier on about the recent expose that came at the port.
Yes. The container
look at the volume.
Container issues.
Look at the volume. And I say, if the goods were imported at the rate of $1 to 60 days at that time, and now it's 1 to 16. Look at the difference, the differentials. So these are the things we've been looking forward for. What is PURC telling the energy producers about the leakages and the wastages that are in the system? What the analysis they did on that area? They didn't tell us that. That upon our analysis, we think that about 70% of production is being wasted. About 70% of production is being in the leakage sector. About 70% of the production is being in the loss area because production loss. What came about for this production loss? What happened before they had this production loss? You had the production as a result of what? We need to know all these things. So you just come, as a result of production loss and production cost, we want to increase to about 120 percentage points. This is not what we're looking forward for. Let's look at the inefficiency. And at every point in time, we still have the inefficiency. Today, they're asking for this increase. My brother, I can assure you that in the next 3 to 4 months, they might even come back again and say, do we want more? Because you have not taken care of the inefficiency. You have not taken care of the inefficiency in the system. Because the wastes are still going to come. The leakages are still going to come. And so what have you done? So it's not enough to increase the rate, but let's check the waste in the system. If we're able to check all the waste, the illegal connections, the underground cables, the lanes, if you're able to check all these things, we don't need to even increase these rates. So these are the challenges.
And that's what you call now, who calls them?
Everybody calls it. You see, yes, we have regulators. PRC is a regulator. Monitor and regulate. You don't just regulate, you monitor the activities of producers. When you regulate them, you monitor the activity. What are they doing? You don't just give them, it's like you are giving someone license and you don't regulate his activities. That's a concern to all of us. So as much as you are being a regulator, you must be able also to go in there and find out what is the cause of the waste. What are the causes of the leakages? And these are the things we need to know. When you are driving home that we should drive into production, like Awini said, let's drive into production. And then you are also increasing. It's not attractive. That is why Ghanaians don't want to go into production. Because you go into production, when the power goes off, you need to depend on genset. You're going to buy fuel.
I mean, you can't be sustainable.
And just imagine you are producing a rubber product.
And you need to be on genset.
You need to be on genset because once you're in the production line, and then the issue is that when the power is going on, nobody tells you that to them power is going to go off. So you can't plan. Problem. You can't plan, you can't project. So just imagine you're in the manufacturing, and you have a plastic product you are manufacturing, and quickly the power trip and
everything comes to a standstill.
It's going to cost you so much. It's going to be a loss. You see, so quickly you have to develop a genset and depend on the genset. So then cost of production is going to go high. Then, so that when the goods come to market, you will not get the same price that you got it the last time.
Let me go back to John Awuni. John, you're on. Joseph believes that whatever it is, the inefficiencies of the management of these institutions should not be passed on to you, the producers or industry players.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. John, I can hear you.
Yeah, so, no, but that's very true. Why would you pass your own inefficiency to another person? If you look at the previous MD of ECG, Mr. Dubik, the kind of, in my opinion, the good work the gentleman was doing, when he decided to get ECG workers to the streets, house to house and all over. Look at the kind of revenue they started mobilizing until people had to call him to order that he was going out of order.
Yes.
If hospitals are collecting monies from patients and all that, yet they are not paying power. And all the government institutions are collecting money, yet they are not paying power and all that. Why do you think that you should be able to pass to the consumer? Look, my brother, I am saying that the rate at which this country is going, if policymakers don't sit up, it will lead one day to an uprising, because there's so much that the consumer can bear. The consumer cannot bear much. Because every day it is one increment or the other, and yet the income is not sufficient. The pressure on households are getting so unbearable. The pressure on the youth are getting so unbearable. The pressure on families are getting so unbearable. School fees are going up. Electricity is going up. Water is going up. Medical is going up. And food prices are going up. Rent is going up. And yet the government looks helpless. They are very, very, very strong when they are in opposition. And when they get into power, there is a different story altogether. I don't think that is the way to go. Because one day this country can just explode. We will lose faith in the politicians. We will lose faith in the government. And people will take law into their own hands, which really we don't pray for and we don't want. So I think that people must begin to work and sit back and check how many government institutions are not paying power. How many parliamentarians are taking power allowances, yet they are not paying? How many people in even industries are using power, they are not paying? The other time I heard a story on Joy FM, where a whole hotel, they have over 20 air conditioners, and yet they are not paying. There are so many all over. I have had occasions where I have reported so many complaints to ECG workers about meters that are not working, and yet they don't even care about that. Some of them say that we will send private, they want to come and help you, and you will pay them to make the meters work. They think that it is your problem when the meter is not working. The meter yet too does not belong to you. The meter is a tool to measure how much you consume so that they can collect the money and pay them. Yet when you report of a faulty meter, they just don't care about it. Or when they come to fix that faulty meter, they look into your face and they want you to pay them some money for coming, as if that was not their work. I think that this government has just started. They must sit up and go out of the way of tariff adjustment and rather do the right thing. Make sure that the inefficiencies, make sure that there's a revolution in the ECG in terms of attitude, workers' attitude. If they manage to change the attitude of workers, where you will ensure that junior workers don't just come in, they are going around reading meters, they are going around fixing meters, and yet suddenly they started building houses. They have started changing, their lifestyles have changed. Question them. When that doesn't happen, I can assure you that the power tariffs will rather go down in this country rather than going up. Private sector will never do well in this country at the rate of tariff adjustment that we are making. The next quarter, we are going to talk about another adjustment. Will there be salary increment every quarter in this country? I think that it is very, very alarming, in my opinion, the rate at which we are going, because we are employing very, 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 very lazy methods of solving problems.
Okay, so I agree with you. I think that we as a country employ very lazy methods I'm trying to put your point down so that I can come back to you on some of these points. So I agree with you that we are employing very lazy methods in addressing issues. And that was a question I was asking the Director of Research and Public Corporate Affairs for the PURC as to whether the increment is the only way to go to be able to resuscitate the ECG and the Ghana Water Company Limited or the other companies. But let me take a quick break. When I come back, I'll come back to you, Joseph, and I'll go back to John Awuni as well. So kindly hold on for me. Let me take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Ama, nansi mi general well-being enkoye kwao. Ama ma ye bohu se kontomra akija.
Nansi me ho se me nyo basi makura. Ama me kuni me into kwankwa. Oyiwa. Enye mo give us GC mixture and any capsules. Aye numbum en wasam na mo kana. E bua emma ene meme nyina. Ne ma wo ba ye obesima. Na be ma so aye bemasima. Ya, we be Bawku. I'm an giant sour the shelly bottom. No, when you yan and into sessing you all you chop one.
Give us heba, give us heba, give us heba, give us GC mixture and a castle. Ashesa.
I pay for a batter one more menu for one and Quadawi if you do me.
These holidays, you don't need to go far to find the best entertainment.
Exactly.
All you need to do is stay connected to DSTV.
Yes, please.
Whether you're at home or on the move, make it a holiday to remember.
Lewis Hamilton leads on Ferrari debut.
Because these holidays, it's your moment to enjoy the best entertainment.
Great.
Thank you guys for joining us.
So get and stay connected to DSTV to enjoy every moment.
Taste this holiday for 249 Ghana cedis.
It's time for the main event. This is incredible. He has written it, and the dream lives on. I cannot believe it.
Stay connected to DSTV this April and May and get all the football finals you want.
Right, welcome back from the break. This is good afternoon, Ghana Business Edge, and we are live here. We are talking about the electricity tariff increment and the Ghana Water Company Limited tariff increment and how we are all taking it. Our question still stands. You can put up your concerns. If we have time, we'll read them out for you. And I still have Joseph and John here with me. John is online. But let me come to you. John had raised a number of points. The free power, and I'm concerned about that as well. The ones that go to the MMDAs, the Metropolitan Municipal and District Assemblies, and the inefficiencies on the part of the management, and then that of the workers, the attitude of workers, he raises them. Those who come to our houses and the companies to read the meters, and so on and so forth. Your mic is off. Please put it on, and then let me hear you.
Yes.
Then I can go to John. Then we round up on this one.
Yes, it's true, and it's all part of the inefficiency we are talking about. You see, so ECG power producers must come out and do the hard work. It takes hard work. You can't gain without doing hard work. And hard work that you must go on the ground. Unless if someone comes to report to you that there's a leakage, a water leakage, and for months, for weeks, for days, you've not come to rectify that, and the water is getting waste. Who paid for that one? That's what the question I asked. So these are the difficult. And when I was hearing Mr. Kofi Dote, is it Dote or something? He spoke about stakeholder engagement. I don't know which of the stakeholders. He spoke about AGI and a few others. But Guta as a key stakeholder, because we control the informal economy. Exactly. And then most of our economy, about 70% of it is the informal sector. So why won't you engage these sectors?
So you haven't been engaged?
We have not been engaged.
At all?
No, at all. So you see our tailors, our hairdressers who are going through this challenge and struggles. If we are...
And you know they also pay commercial rates.
Exactly. That's the issue I'm talking about. So we were to engage them. And you see, I always talk about rate. It's not about imposing higher rates. It's the issue about compliance. What rate can you bring so that people can comply? Because if you bring a rate about 50% and you cannot afford, and someone comes, I'll give you a waste and miss and pay 20%, the person will want to go for that. So what rate are you bringing on board that people can comply? So you have more people in the basket. As it stands now, the same rate you are imposing, the 14.5, are the few people who are already in the net. So those outside the net, you might not get them. And this 14.5 you are asking for, there will still be some waste in there. What are you doing about those areas? Because you might not even get all the 14.5 you are looking for, because still there will be waste. And I can assure you more than half of it, that will be a waste. That will go waste. So so the government should look into the informal sector. What can we do to formalize our economy, to grow this informal sector people? Like I said earlier on, if we want us to go into production manufacturing, what are we doing for people to get cheaper credit, affordable power supplies, affordable utility supplies, so that we can move the economy from just importation. But as it stands now, my brother, I can assure you, no one, even those who are already into production, want to even go into importation. That's the challenge they have.
Yes, because it's costly to produce here in the country.
Well, my members at Okanshi who deals in confectionery, they gave their money to one of the factories to produce biscuits for the past 3 months. They couldn't produce, so they have to go back for their money and start importing from China, because looking at the cost of production, if you import from China, it's still cheaper after paying the duty and everything. Still cheaper. So what can we do?
Even in the printing industry, you see that there are still lots of printing companies here. And then people go out to China to go and print. To take it to go and print.
And come and pay duty here. And it's still cheaper than that which is produced here. So what can you do to help our manufacturers to be competitive in the world market? But as it stands now, by increasing utilities, there's no way our manufacturers and our producers will be competitive. Their prices of goods and services will be as twice or thrice higher than that which is imported after paying all the duties. So when you do that, what are you doing? You are forcing people to move from production into importation. So
John, let me take your final words on this one. Issues around ECG, issues around supporting and growing production here locally in our country.
You see, recently the government launched its Feed the Ghana program, and one of the flagships of the Feed the Ghana program is this Nkoko Kete issue, talking about boosting poultry production in the country. You cannot be talking about boosting poultry production in this country, and then you are talking about increasing electricity tariffs, because when they produce that poultry, it has to be stored. Now, already the poultry that is being produced in this country cannot be afforded. People are not buying locally produced chicken, not because they don't like its freshness, not because they don't like its good taste, but just because it is expensive. We prefer the imported chicken because it is cheaper. And so if this is what the situation is, and the government is talking about boosting production, poultry production, boosting locally produced goods, production of locally produced goods, you cannot be talking about increasing the burden of those industries that will produce that. And let's look at the electricity tariffs, compare electricity tariffs in this country to what happens elsewhere in industries, in Europe, in America, and all over. And see, in China, like my brother Joseph Tariff's party is saying, these goods travel thousands of miles down to this country, and yet they are still cheaper. And all that we can say lazily or just say that they are dumping goods in the country. People are finding very efficient ways of producing their goods. And then instead of us to look ourselves in the faces and confront the problem and deal with it, we try to wash away and say they are dumping goods, cheap goods, they are dumping inferior goods, and then all. That is not the situation. People are reaping economies of mass scale production. People are producing efficiently. People are enjoying lower tariffs from electricity, lower tariffs from water.
Right.
They are supported. These are areas the government can basically support.
Right.
And so I will encourage the government to stop this tariff adjustment issue and let ECG go into the field. Let there be a revolution. And they do a revolution, the ECG, for about 1 year. Things will turn around and tariffs will even go down.
There should be a revolution at the ECG.
Yes, there must be a massive revolution there. They must stop that. And this guy showed the way a bit. Muhammad Dubik. He showed the way a bit. And I was so much proud of and happy about the work of that man. Because look, when you go into there are many air conditioners that are connected of the major consumer of power in this country is air conditions. Everybody is hooking air conditioning because the weather is hot.
Right, right.
And
Thank you very much.
They hook them off. They hook them off.
Thank you very much. John Awuni is there. But let me go to, I'm told apparently all this while we have Mr. Chukwuma on. So let me go to him. He's been online with us at least for the last 40 minutes. He's my very own boss, so I'm sure that he would forgive me. But let me still apologize. Mr. Seth Chukwuma is the president of AGI. Seth, kindly forgive us. Forgive us. I think that we didn't see you in the camera, so we assumed that you had not joined yet. But forgive me. We have had the discussions with the PURC and then with Guta and food and beverages. But once you are here, you have also stated that you're against the increment, especially of the electricity, by the 14.75%.
Well, thank you very much, and apologies accepted.
Thank you very much,
I've been on it,
thank you very much.
I have to move to another meeting, so I'll make it very brief.
Right, that's fine.
I must say that, yes, I listened to Dr. Obute from PURC, and I've listened to my colleagues. For us, I think that really sometimes you are torn between the rock and the hard place. On one hand, we appreciate the challenges of the utility companies, and we appreciate in the sense that they are also a company. They are operating as a business. If they don't generate enough resources, they cannot survive. And if they don't survive, they can't provide a service, critical service that is needed by industry to also operate. And therefore, their survival is very important. And like any other business, once in a while, you adjust your prices to reflect current economic trends and all that. Otherwise, you have a difficulty. So we appreciate where they're coming from. And as I said, we are torn between the hard and the rock place. So that one is a difficult one, and they must have some adjustments. On the other hand, when you adjust and you adjust too high, it also has implications because, as the colleagues there said, businesses are operating with a cost. That cost must be passed on to the consumer in the form of prices. If your cost goes up, you must adjust your prices to reflect that. And the higher your price, the less competitive you become in the market, especially if your competing sources are not encountering similar cost areas. If you take electricity, for example, in China, it's about 4 cents per kilowatt hour. In Ethiopia, it's about 5 cents. In Ghana, even the bulk customers who are supposed to enjoy the lowest tariff because they produce, they take so much volume, they do about 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So the rest of industry already within 12 cents plus. So it means that in terms of competitiveness, our tariff levels are already high. So anytime there is a hike, then it makes us even worse off. And that's the reason why I believe my colleagues from Guta and the rest are complaining that way. So it has an implication, it has an impact on businesses when tariff goes up. But we acknowledge that we've all agreed on the automatic adjustment system. And therefore, PURC has done the right thing by every quarter making changes in the tariff based on the parameters that have been agreed. And the parameters, as was mentioned by Dr. Obute, includes inflation, includes energy mix, it includes the exchange rate, and then also the there are 4 key factors. So all these factors have to be looked at. What I find a bit worrying is the fact that the automatic adjustment system, which is supposed to be quarterly reviewed, was not reviewed in the last quarter for various reasons. Whatever the reason was, it has an impact, because if you didn't review, then you wait, then you accumulate debt. And my understanding from the recent release is the fact that part of the reason why the tariff, because if you look at the automatic adjustment system alone, we shouldn't have gone up this much by 14%. It should have been way, way lower. And I think they mentioned about 6% or so. That is what the automatic adjustment system would have allowed. Now, we've gone to 14%, and the reason being assigned is the fact that about 50% of the outstanding revenue loss has to be somehow recovered. So they are putting 50% on this tariff, current tariffs, and then the rest to be spread over the period. So that is accounting for this challenge. So we are a bit careful in not accepting adjustments at all, because if you do that, you collapse the companies that are producing the tariffs for you. We are also careful in just accepting any tariff, because when you do that, you are increasing costs to producers, and then it impacts on their prices. So it's a very difficult situation for us. That's why I agree with the call that we should be more efficient, because we cannot say that we will not adjust tariffs at all. Every product that you produce, when the economic dynamics changes, you adjust prices a little bit to accommodate the increased cost that you are experiencing. So we expect that these companies would also increase their tariffs or increase costs. So PURC accepting some changes is normal. The challenge I have is the fact that we still have a lot of inefficiencies confronting us. And because of that, then additional cost, because over 20% of the tariff or the power that is produced is unrecoverable. And that is the leakages we have. So if you are bearing that cost by those who are paying, it adds to your cost. So we need to be able to calculate that percentage of it in this, because if you want to continue to pass the inefficiencies on, then it will make us also uncompetitive, and then we lose market share. And that's part of the reason why we have a lot of influx of products coming into the system. So we need to work very strongly on the efficiency part, improve our systems, and then ensure that we become competitive in the market. If we don't do that, then the easier way is, let's increase tariffs. But to get to a point where when you increase the tariffs, the producers will not be there, because the businesses will collapse and they will not be there to absorb the tariff. So we got to be careful. Acceptance of tariff, for me, it's okay, because we have to accept some adjustments, but we have to be careful with the level of or quantum of increment, and not take too much of the inefficiencies. We should work towards the inefficiencies. Right. And this brings to me the question of the recent challenges we had with the ECG importation. The media has issued a statement in this respect. And our statement was simple. And the statement is that by the Energy Commission, we have the local content law. The local content law requires that priority should be given to local producers of various items. And the items that were imported were largely items that we are producing locally. Today we are assembling meters. We are producing cables. Transformers have been done in Ghana.
Right.
So if you bring over 1,000 and volumes of containers for these items that are produced locally, then where lies the local content law adherence? So it means you are not complying with the local content law.
I agree.
And that is also not good for industries.
I agree.
So all these volumes is imported. If you are going to spread it over a period of time, what will happen to local companies that are producing these items? And in that discussion so far, that angle hasn't come in. It's about the containers that have been imported and the loss of it. But for us, what is critical is also the local content angle that has been completely ignored.
Right. Right. Thank you very much. And I'm happy. I appreciate you for giving us, and forgive us once again for the stress we've put you through. Setu Makobwa is the president of AGI. I have 1 minute for you, so you can. You also have to run away. I mean, because you are in the studio.
Yes.
So one minute.
1 minute. I'm not going to talk about it. We've spoken a lot about this. But I'm going to plead with the mayor of Kumasi. Not to be creeping our people, but rather collaborate. We didn't talk about that anyway. But
maybe Tuesday we have to bring you back. Yes. We need to get into the details of all of that.
No, let's collaborate and engage rather than whipping people. You know.
So if you're watching us, Mayor of Kumasi, please, you do not need to whip the people as you have said. It looks like there's been a lot of concerns over your statement, and that's really it. So this afternoon we've had Setu Makobwa, we've had Joseph, my very good friend, and we have John Awuni as well. So we've been discussing the issues about the tariff increment. I'll move on to what we have generally termed as a 1 million quota. So yesterday, President John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, actually launched the data the portal had been put out already by the Minister for Communication, Honorable Sam Nate George. And as of yesterday, about 91,000 people had applied. Ayakil, Eric Anan is somebody we have been speaking to. We spoke to him on blockchain technology some weeks ago. And we want to ask him what this means for the industry. He's also been online. Eric, please forgive us. Because of our different people, we've spent a lot of time. But kindly take us through. What does this make for you? We've been speaking to the minister himself, and they want to train people. For us, the offtake, the jobs that people will get, how relevant is this? Or is just about the training? And are you getting involved? Has there been enough stakeholder engagement before this project?
Good afternoon to you and your listeners. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. When I heard it, and I read about it yesterday, where the president launched this, two key things came to mind. And these things are this. By the next 15 years, we are going to have a population of young agers across the continent, more than China and India combined in the age bracket of between 16 and 30. What that for me tells me is there's an opportunity for Africa to become a net value contributor to the global digital world.
Okay.
That means that having the necessary skill set is key. So I want to use this opportunity to congratulate the Ghanaian people, the young Ghanaian dreamer, that of this opportunity to acquire this notable skill set. We at AYA have been doing this. I believe that it's not just about coding, it's about also creating a generation that can build, that can innovate, and that can shift the economic narrative of Ghana and by and large, the continent. So a bit of a background, our startup, AYA, has been on this journey for the last 2-3 years. We have been building startups, and more recently, we have also invested in talent training. We've trained over 300 young people across 34 countries.
Wow.
With over 8,000 applications that we received. Our model is not just about training. We believe training is one thing, but ability to prove your skill by solving problems is critical. So we model a framework of what we call the PACE. So what is the PACE? The PACE is a framework that we use. It's called problem solving, adapting, creativity, and empathy. Because we believe that to be able to have a skill beyond certificate, you need to prove that that skill you can use to solve problems. And by a model, we train people, a team of people that can develop a technical problem and solve solution. And so one of them that we do is we train engineers, that is coders. We train people who are product managers. We train people who are product designers. Because today, if you want to build any tech product, you need someone who's a product manager, who is able to talk to the end user, understanding their need and the product you're trying to solve. So just training coders is not enough. I mean, I am of the view that training is key, but it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. So what are the measures are we putting in place to ensuring that these people that we are about to train is not another amazing, big picture, big goal, but we're unable to put measurable and have measurable outcome at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, it is you and I, our taxes, that are going to be expended on these young people. So any beneficiary should be able to do 3 key things. Be able to, at the end, prove that the skills that I have, I'm able to solve problems, stay in Ghana, and perhaps work with a local startup or a global startup, stay in Ghana, earning in dollars and contribute to the Ghanaian economy, because we need to have ROI. The government is not charity. Our money is not charity. It's not free. So if anybody who benefits from this should be able to either working locally with a founder, a startup founder in Ghana, able to solve a problem that can generate. Exactly. Generally, so for me, I think it's a good news for Ghana. As a country, because whether we like it or not, brick and mortar is going to be a thing of the past.
Yes,
it's just a matter of time, and so it's important as a country we begin to move from theoretical approach to more practical. And tech is a gateway for me. I think that I've been working in this space for the last working Huawei and opening my mind to see the possibility of technology, and then moving out of Huawei and being a startup founder, having contributed significantly across the continent. And as I speak to you, Kenya, hosting over 50 young people across 10 countries in the next 21 days.
But Eric, are you involved? And I mean, not necessarily you and Aya alone, but the companies within the setup, or you're talking about the training you have done, and 300 people across the world. I mean, you can expand and do more. Have you been engaged? Have you had any consultations with the ministry or GIFEC or any of the institutions that are involved? Are you looking forward to the industry players? Have you been engaged? Because you are having experiences elsewhere, for example, that in Kenya, to be able to bring on board, and we need to be able to assess the competition and see how we'll be on top as a country.
That's a great one. I mean, for us, every time we do, we ask 3 questions. What is the measurable outcome we want to have? How does it influence the next young person to make a decision that, I've seen my friend do this and his life economic situation has changed. And so we have a very simple, in the last 3 years that we've been doing this, we've been doing that from out of pocket and with a global ally that has supported us. We have worked with World Food Program in Kenya, where we train young people in Kibera, one of the largest slums in the world, in Kenya, Nairobi. And so we have this proofs. But I will just make this statement, right? Lee Kuan Yew, who built Singapore from zero and poverty to a world-class country, built it using 3 frameworks: MPH, meritocracy, pragmatism, and honesty. We believe that we need to have a conversation about value. We believe that value should not be based on where you come from or who you're based. So if our Ghanaian government believe that they want to implement this, the power of government is to be an enabler.
Okay.
The power of government is not the implementer. Okay. And so as African government, our intentionality and things that we want to do, we need to be intentional about it, we need to be deliberate about it, and we need to actually put in measurable KPIs and provide this KPI to people that have the capacity to implement and execute and provide a result.
Okay. So
we are not actually, we don't believe that consulting ourselves. There are many other players in the industry that can support the government, but we believe that we have demonstrable capacity. Our work is out there to be proven and shown that we know that the only thing we believe is value. And value does not know where you come from.
This is what we'll do. You are in Kenya now. When you come back, you have to, the training you are having for other people in the world, when you come back, you have to come and tell us what your plan is for Ghana specifically, because you are from here and you have a knowledge, you are putting it out there to everybody else. You have to come and show us and begin something here, and then all of us have to learn as well. But thank you very much for your time. My time is up. So Eric is the CEO for IRQ. Thank you very much, Eric. And we've discussed the 1 million coders. We've discussed electricity and water tariffs from the PURC. My name is Kwesi Afriyie. This has been Business Edge on Good Afternoon Ghana. We are back Tuesday. Keep watching Metro TV.
season on the Gen Z Show.
I want to eat and you tell me no. To go and eat.
My name is Lakisha. Join me and my guest live on Metro TV